just in terms of this first screen you saw here, uh, Cyberquery has been supporting Sightline and CSI since 2012. A lot of you may know that since you were customers way back when. But we appreciate everybody joining us. We've got some old customers and some new customers and a lot of people in between. So just kind of in terms of general housekeeping, we can't actually hear questions as we go along, but there's a little question and answer box in Zoom that you can click on and submit your questions, and we'll make sure to get them answered either during the webinar or after. And really, what we want to emphasize with this webinar series is that it's your series, that it's really up to you, the ideas that we want to present, what's going on with Cyberquery, but also answer questions. So this first episode, we're going to talk about what's new with version 930, which has just come out now. But going forward on a monthly basis, we want to address customer questions or input, and we want to have a Q&A session. So again, it's really your session, and you're going to drive it with your questions. So what we're going to do today is Ron Sweeney, one of our senior consultants, will be doing the majority of the demonstration. But as we go along, feel free to ask questions. Now, the whole idea behind this session is to help you improve, expand your Cyberquery skills. And again, it's mostly going to be designed for accessing Sightline and CSI. But if you have questions about how do I combine data from Sightline and Salesforce, or Sightline and CPQ, or CSI and Excel, we're open to answering any of those kinds of questions. Again, customer-driven topics and questions. When we finish up today, you'll receive a survey. In that survey, please write down any questions or topics you'd like to see us addressed. And we'll use those to decide the topics for the next series of sessions. The plan is to have a session just like this, the third Wednesday of each month at this time. And if for some reason this time doesn't work out, please note that down in the survey and we can adjust. So again, we want input from you to really drive the direction of these sessions. With that being said, the agenda today, again, is we're going to talk about Cyberquery version 9.3 and talk about what's new and how does that impact. A lot of you are still on, probably on earlier versions of 9 or maybe some back on version 8. Again, there's no charge to upgrade Cyberquery. You'll probably want one of our guys to do it. We can do it very quickly. We've done it hundreds of times. You can also do it yourself. But if you have a question, need the link, just send me an email. And my email is going to be at on the last slide that you'll see here in the session. But today we're going to talk specifically about benefits to Sightline and CSI users. We'll also talk about how do you receive Cyberquery 930. And again, it's easy. Just send me an email or contact support at us.cyberscience.com and they can help you out. And really, the questions and answers that you ask in the session today will be answered today or immediately afterwards. And then the survey we're going to use to drive the direction. So again, welcome everybody. Hope to see you at Sun. We're going to be there. We're gold sponsors. So please come by the booth if you're there and let's chat. So with that being said, I'm going to turn the time over to Ron Sweeney. Again, Ron's been with Cyber Science, as you probably know, 30 plus years. So he knows how to make the software sing and dance. But I'm going to turn the time over to Ron and let him go through the majority. I'll pick up at the end. But again, if you have questions, feel free to submit those at any time during this webinar. Take it away, Ron.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Hello, everybody. So we will be going through a few of the key benefits of version 930. So the first thing we will talk about is there is a new query pane that has been added, and this appears when you're running the visual editor, the drag and drop editor, so you can see the underlying language statements that are being built. And this is totally optional. If you don't want to see it, you don't have to enable it. But if you do want to learn more about the underlying language statements that are being created, you can turn that on. We will also discuss the new AI-powered Cyberquery search function. So this allows you to enter English-like phrases into the online search that brings you into Cyberquery's support portal, or I take that back, online documentation portal. And it's just an easier and friendlier way to search the online documentation. We will also talk about our browser-based data dictionary manager. So the dictionary manager used to be a Windows client, and in our quest to remove all client software and have everything run within a browser, this is another big step towards that. So I will be showing you how that works and what it looks like. Then we will talk about another big improvement in Cyberquery interactive development environment, and that is enhancements to the macro editor. The macro editor used to pretty much just be a kind of a text editor that didn't give you much help at all, but now it has all of the available macro commands that are available, including code completion, uh, context-sensitive documentation, etc. Okay, so just a couple of pieces of information in here to give you an idea of what this looks like. So on the top part, you'll see a orange box that points to a query pane on the right-hand side. So that is the query pane I mentioned a little bit earlier. And again, you can turn that on or off. And as you drag and drop and move around, it will show you the underlying language statements that are being built. And you may also notice that in the query pane, there's some blue background where it says sales rep last name. And the reason that has a blue background is because it corresponds to what's been clicked in the left-hand side. So the sales rep name was clicked, so it highlights that piece of code for you. So if you do have some mysterious code in your visual editor or fields and you're wondering, where did that come from? What's that even doing there? If you click on the appropriate area in the visual editor, it will highlight that in the language and hopefully make it easier for you to solve problems and streamline your report building exercises. And another thing that's nice about it is it also will help you to learn what the underlying language is doing and what it looks like if you're interested in that. Okay. As far as the AI-enabled documentation search, pretty simple. There's just a new area on the top of the screen. It says Ask the Documentation. You click in a phrase there, and it will open up the online doc and show you what you've searched for. So it's more intuitive. You don't have to type in keywords or specific phrases that are part of the language. You can enter English-like sentences, and it'll find information that you're looking for. Okay, this is what the dictionary, one of the screens in the browser-based dictionary manager looks like. So it's all been modernized to look less client-server oriented and shows more information on the screen than the old client did, and lets you move around seamlessly from the various areas inside of the dictionary, and also shows you more information on individual pages than the previous version did, including clear views of things like the file relationships, all of the different logical files, etc. Okay, and then the macro editor enhancements. So as I said before, it was pretty much just a text editor and you didn't get much help at all. So for those of you who aren't really familiar with what macros really are, you can kind of think of it as job control language. It helps you run multiple steps in Cyberquery. So if you have a bunch of reports you want to run in one step, maybe you create QDBs or email report output or copy report output around, that's what macros are used for. So a few things that are in here. If you do use embedded queries in your macros, so you can actually embed Cyberquery reports in your macros if you want, and you would end the embedded report with a semicolon, like this shows right here, right above this run statement. It will highlight that embedded query and also provide you with syntax highlighting and suggestions. Previously, one of the shortcomings of having to do an embedded query is you'd be guessing on table names and query names and things like that, which was kind of a pain. But now it will actually help you with your syntax. Also, it will give you code completion suggestions. So you can see here we've got the word order has been typed in, order underscore, and it's showing you the 4 suggestions that contain order underscore. And you could arrow around in there and select one. And then, as always, there's an options tree on the left-hand side that is context sensitive. So depending on where you're positioned in the macro that you're editing, that context sensitive tree will go ahead and move around and show you the appropriate content. Okay, you've also got context sensitive help that gives you additional information. And again, that help can be specific to a command, a macro command like run or replace or view, something like that. It can also be context sensitive for a file name or a field name like this one is showing. And one of the nice things that this has that you may not be available is if you're clicked on a certain field and you want to see what some of the data looks like in that field, there's a view sample data that you can click on. So if you have ever been in a situation where you want to put a field on the report, but you're not quite sure what that field might be, click this view sample data area and it'll show you a list of your of the data that's in there. I find that quite helpful when I'm writing reports. Use that all the time. Okay, so let's switch over into a demonstration of a few of these features.
Hey,
So,
and Ron,
yes.
before we jump into the demo, there's a question asked about more AI functionality in the software. And so let me answer that before you start your demo.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, if people are going to be at Sun, we're going to be demonstrating more AI functionality with Cyberquery actually generating some code at the Sun conference. So, we don't want to pre-announce all of that or pre-demo all of that. We just want to save something for Sun. But there's going to be a lot more AI functionality coming in Cyberquery here over the next several months. So go ahead, Ron. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks for clarifying that, Jim. Okay, switched over to Cyberquery. So we'll just build a simple report here and take a look at some of these features we briefly discussed. So I'll go ahead and so here we are in Cyberquery's main interactive development environment. So primarily we are using the visual editor right here. And you may notice on the right-hand side, there is a query pane. And this is what I was discussing earlier. You can turn this query pane on or off by clicking this toggle query pane icon. So it's gone. And then if I click it again, it shows back up again. And this is the language statement that has been entered so far. I started off in the wizard, did a list command, said I wanted CO item mask to be my domain, and that's what it's showing me here. And as I put additional information into this query, you will see this query pane over here change. So I'll add the customer order number, just double clicked on it, and you can see now that's in there. And let's put a few other things in there. How about customer order line, the item, let's say quantity ordered, and you can see how these are being added. Maybe I want to go over and put the item master description in here. So I'll scroll down to the item master file. And here it is. Expand that out. And I'll drag the description to the right-hand side of the item. So now we've got the item mass description in there. And like I mentioned a little earlier, the description is highlighted in blue, and that code section is also highlighted in the query pane. So if we wanted to do a few things like maybe optimize this display width, so I click on item and I'll click on the optimize display width icon, optimize the data, and you can see it puts the display width equals 13 switch on it. Do the same thing for description, optimize how wide that is. So reads through the data and puts a display width on here to only show you the maximum field length with maybe a few character positions on the end. And again, another thing you can do is if you don't like this query pane being on the right-hand side, you can position it maybe at the bottom. Click on this icon here, put it on the left side. So you can put that wherever you want, or you can just completely turn it off. If you don't like this feature, you don't have to see it. You can just click on the X and it'll go away. One other thing you can do is if you do want to edit the code out here on the right-hand side, you can do that. You can change this display width to, let's say, 40. And then you'll notice that the rest of this is all grayed out. And it does not take effect until I run it. So if I click on the running man icon, everything ungrays and it applies my edit. So that's a little bit about the query pane. To move on to the next subject, ask the documentation. So as Jim mentioned earlier, this is just one subject area regarding AI that we're covering. So this one just makes it easier to, like the tooltip says, perform a semantic search of the documentation. So if I click on this, it remembers some of the previous things I've searched for. So I'm going to search for print numbers as currency. How do I do that? And if I click on that and then click on the icon to actually do the search, it opens up the documentation with various suggestions on the left-hand side that regard to currency. And you can utilize these suggestions, hopefully, to do what you want to do. Close that. If I go back to the search again, maybe I want data visualization examples. So I'll click on that, search, and this time it brings up information on data visualization regarding building a dashboard view of multiple reports with Cyberquery's compose command, which is a macro command, by the way, and just gives you various pieces of information that you could hopefully utilize to go ahead, including things like an experimental feature in Cyberquery maps. If you wanted to overlay data over maps, you could do that, and so on and so forth. Okay, one thing while I'm in the online doc, if you go to the library, you'll notice that there is a bunch of various documents here that you can look at. And I'm looking for the one that says Cyberquery release notes. Where is that?
Ron, it's possible. It disappears when they're doing an update, so that's unfortunate timing.
Oh,
So
really? Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Or actually, you don't have it selected there. So that was the filter. Select the release.
There we go. Thanks.
Okay,
So I
good.
clicked on this little funnel right here.
Yeah.
And you can turn documentation on or off to reduce some of the clutter. And apparently I uncluttered by removing the release notes. So here they are right here. And the reason I wanted to show this to you is some of you may be on older versions. And if you do want to see what are in the release notes for versions that you maybe haven't upgraded to yet, you can read the release notes on any of these. So, and it gives additional information on all of these versions and what's in these versions in a pretty nice layout. So, including what we're talking about today, version 930. So any of this stuff that you want more information on, just open up the release notes and read into the 930 area, and you'll see the things we're talking about today and even more. So I just wanted to point that out. And thank you, Cheryl, for keeping me straight on where it was. Okay, so the next thing we can take a look at is if we go back to the main Cyberquery landing page. I want to point out that before I run the dictionary manager in HTML, all of our choices now have been made to run in an HTML interface or browser interface, except the QDirector client, which will be coming soon. So all of this runs in a non-client server version, again, except the QDirector client. So that saves you having to worry about giving people the ability to install software or fighting network issues that you can have sometimes with client software. So that includes Cyberquery itself, command line, Launchpad is HTML based, Cyberquery runtime is now HTML based, CQ Publish runs in an HTML window, and the dictionary manager. So let me run the dictionary manager. And it's asking me to log in. So you can give it the password or you can go read-only mode. So I'll enter the password. And this is what the initial landing page looks like for that. Good suggestion here to back up your dictionary before you make any changes. So that's loaded for you and very easy to use. Always recommended to back it up before you do anything that you're maybe a little nervous about. And you can see you've got functional areas that are laid out and easy to see and understand. You've also got a little menu on the top left here that you can use if you like that kind of interface better. So let's see if we go to logical files. We've got all of our logical files here that you can quickly and easily scroll through. If you wanted to search for a specific one, I can go for CO item. And it's showing all of the files with CO item in the word. So if I click CO item mast, it shows me additional information about that file, including the fields. If I wanted to go to relationships, you can see I've got a menu right here. So if I click relationships, it shows me all of the relationships for all the files. And again, if I wanted to narrow that down to CO item underscore mast, oh, actually, let me do it this way. Let me go ahead and get out of there and go back to logical files and click on this and click on relationships. So this shows various target files and relationship key paths and the relationship type. And again, there's an additional ellipse here that you can click on to edit the details on any of this stuff. Okay, so go back up here to this navigation screen so you can navigate back to logical files if you wanted to and clear this search. So that is just a little bit on the dictionary and the way it looks, including going back to the home screen. So I'll go ahead and exit out of this.
And
Exit.
Ron, just to clarify, because we may have customers on here that have never seen the dictionary manager, right? That
Yes.
Not for everybody. So if it looks foreign, you may not have access to it.
Yeah, excellent point. A lot of people who are attending this webinar, Cyberquery handles the data dictionary for you. And it may be a totally foreign concept of what's a dictionary, why do you even have it? Basically, it maps out all of the files, fields, relationships, and joins And we handle that for a lot of Sightline customers and customers who use other manufacturing packages we support. So for those of you that do need to get into it, it's just a newer, friendlier interface. So I wanted to briefly show that to you. Okay, so the next thing we will talk about is we will get into the macro editor. So I'm going to go File, New, Macro, and I'm not going to save this query. So this is what the macro editor looks like now. So you can see there's a bunch of macro commands on the left-hand side. And if I actually was kind of surprised at how many of them there are. Um, so if you did want information, let's say on the data clause, you could just click data, and over here on the right-hand side, it tells you about that and how it works. And if you were to click on one of these hyperlinks, it would bring you into the online doc. If you double click on one of these or just type one of them in, it'll change context. So I'll double click run, and you can see it change context over here on the right-hand side and showing me the help. So if I want to run a query, I could either type in the query name, but if I wasn't sure about the spelling of the name, I could just click the open and then say, okay, wait a minute, I want to run the order lines query. So I would find that here. Here it is. I'll click on it once, gives me a preview. I'm just going to highlight that file name right here, do a Control C to copy it, and then cancel, and then Control V it to get it into the actual macro editor. So that just saves you maybe typoing some of your query names that may be long. They may have spaces in them. And if they do have spaces in them, you need to put double quotes around them. And then I could do a real simple query here. If I just do a view and run this, and you can see I am getting my suggestions pop-up box here. So I can always close that if I want to. And now if I run this, it's going to run that query and then show me the data. And you'll notice that I've got this continue or stop running. So I'm just going to click continue. So since I'm at the last command here, and you'll notice there's a little arrow that points to the step you're in. So if I wanted to output this to Excel, I could do /XLS. Not exactly easy to say sometimes. And then I could do a R replace and save this with a name with some spaces in it, like order lines report. And I'm putting double quotes around it because I'm putting spaces in the name. And then if I run this again, it will ask me if I want to keep it over on the right-hand side. Since we're running in a web browser, open it up. It's in my downloads directory. And if I wanted to view this, I would just double click on it and it would open it up in Excel and I would have my report. So this report would be transferred from your Cyberquery server to this data being available on your local PC in an Excel environment. Okay. There are some additional commands you could use if I open up another one. If I'll open up this pre-written macro. So this specific one has a clear echo command at the top. And what this does is it eliminates a lot of the progress messages that you do see down here in the messages pane. And it also does a mail. This will actually mail this report output to me. So there's a CQCS mail command, which a lot of you may use, where you say CLI, CQCS mail. But there's also a built-in macro mail command right here that you can utilize for maybe simpler mailing. And one of the nice things about this one is it will not mail you. There's a no empty switch that you can use. So if you don't want to email empty reports, you can utilize this mail command for that. It's an easy way to do that. So let me check my notes here, make sure I'm not leaving anything out. So that is really all I had to go over now. So I think with that, I will turn it back over to Jim on.
Okay. Hey, great demo, Ron. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim.
We had several questions come in about upgrading and just about you know any issues. So we've had a lot of people upgrade from old versions of Cyberquery, version 7 and 8, and I mean 8.22 is not that old, and really the upgrade there, from going from 8.22 or something older like that, I think you'll definitely want to have one of our consultants, either Ron or Jeff Dabbert or Zach or one of those guys, help you with the upgrade. There should not be any issues. And I'm going to say 99% of the time they're not. But again, our consultants can look at exactly what's going on to see if there could be any potential issues. But the whole design is that it's completely upwardly compatible. So upgrades are easy, depending on how many sites and the complexity of your cyberquery environment. You're probably looking at 4 hours. Sometimes if it's a real short upgrade, single site, it could be significantly less than that. But if you expect somewhere in that 4, maybe 6 hour range, uh, that's kind of what it's going to take to do the upgrade for you. But again, the upgrade, there's no charge for the software. We want everybody to be on the latest and greatest version of the software because, as you see, it's got all those new features like that query panel that you can see as the query is being built and jump back and forth if you want to, or turn it off completely. So just in terms of wrap up, yeah, just well, let's see if I've still got control over here, Ron. Okay, yeah. Number one thing, everybody, please complete the questionnaire as you see it and give us your feedback, good and bad. We want to learn from you because, again, these are your sessions designed to be designed around your needs and questions. Any questions? Feel free to contact me. I'm Jim Mon at us.cyberscience.com or support. Support may be quicker to respond just because we've got big group there watching that mail queue. And then if you have any questions about getting training, go to our website, www.cyberscience.com/training. Lists all the training classes. We can do those classes dedicated to a particular company if you got a good sized group of people that want it, or you can come to our regular scheduled classes that we offer probably every month, every 6 weeks, something like that. But again, we'll get you signed up for those, and then see you at Sun. And again, don't hesitate to reach out on any kind of question. You don't have to wait till the next session. But again, we're going to do these monthly, and look forward to talking to you then. Thanks for coming, everybody.